Paging Dr. Dubward to the operating room. Dr. Dubward to the operating room. Anyways, welcome and hello. This is week 5 of the Chocobo circuit, the first event in our official tournament system named Pending. This is one of the big ones. This one is for many, many marbles. This is Noob versus Sorbius. Both of these runners starting this week with 3 wins and 1 loss. Given the results of an earlier match this week, this means the winner of this match will be one of the winners of the tournament, and will be extended an invitation to collaborate on the flag sets for the next event. I'm the Scarlet Sorcerer. I'm joined in the booth by Fiery Blizzard. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well. I actually was able to drag Dubward in here, so we have found Dubward 47. No one else needs to look for him, so we're all good to go. We will get this race going shortly now that we have the person who is dedicated to pressing all the buttons for us. But overall, yeah, I'm doing well. It was interesting earlier today where I had the thought, I'm like, next week's the last week in February. I don't know where time has gone. But yeah, 5 weeks of this tournament system. It's been a lot of fun. Interesting matchup between Noob and Sorbius in Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. I know Noob has put in quite a bit of time at the Moogle Cup recently over in the Worlds Collide server. So we'll see how that handles for him, and we'll see how Sorbs does as well. But how are you, Scar?
I'm doing all right, a-okay, as they say. I'm excited. I'm also excited for this matchup. Worlds Collide is I think Worlds Collide is probably the least played game of this event. We had a lot of Final Fantasy IV, and we're off to the races. And that's a character we hate to see. I don't know about you, but I am
Sabin,
not a fan of Mog.
Yeah, Mog, Sabin, Shadow. I think I saw Shadow with Blitz. Pretty good. I didn't catch what the stats were. It's a lot easier to do that while you're playing, or was that Shock on
It was
Shadow?
Shock on Mog with like
Okay.
29 magic, and Blitz on Shadow with I think 36 magic, which is on the higher side for him, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you were saying about Mog starts. Yeah, my thought is Mog is always dead until you get forced into doing that. But this is actually an incredible start for this flag set too. Uh, we obviously haven't had the time to talk about it, but while our players are going to go for the looting phase, it's worth noting with these 3 characters, we have a number of free checks available. We have the Lone Wolf check, which actually will give us a character, an Esper, or an item on both ends. But you essentially get 2 free checks out of there if you want to take that status early. We have Sabin, who has the Collapsing House in World of Ruin in Zen. That's also a free check and pretty good loot. And then you also have Shadow's free check in Gao's father's house. And the reason why I bring all that up is because not only does that progress you into possibly getting characters or espers, in which we need 6 characters, find 3 more characters and 9 whole espers, but this is a Poots League flag set, and so if you're not familiar with that, when checks are quote dead, that is, they're not giving you progression in terms of character or espers, you are incredibly likely to get some really good rewards, such as that Illumina, that Ragnarok, or something, a Valiant Knife. Of course, no guarantee that we can equip any of those weapons, but certainly things you want to find at the end game. So we're going to see what our racers decide to do early on. It's also really nice to see that shock ability in the setup here, just simply because one of the main checks here is at Imperial Camp for Sabin, which is a bunch of random encounters, and shock generally just essentially trivializes that check. So looking forward to seeing how both our racers approach this. And we do see Sorps going up to Lone Wolf, whereas Noobtree is going to continue to loot returners. How do you feel about that?
I think this makes sense from both perspectives. Sorbius has also picked up this game relatively recently. He picked this up for this event so that he would have a flexible toolbox. So, there's Celisette. So knowing that Noobtree might be more experienced than him, and also knowing that this isn't necessarily a great check in a vacuum, is pretty good impetus to go and do it against someone who might have an execution advantage.
Yeah, so what's interesting is I don't know whether or not Sorbius was able to buy a couple earrings for that shock on Mog. But if Sorbius did, that, I mean, yes, it's going to be a two-character Kefka and Narsh, but it's really tempting to go ahead and take the random encounters as your grind and then see if the boss is doable, or, see the boss is doable first. Either way, and get that cell is really quick. And having the Blitz command and the shock command very much puts that in line. We see those earrings coming onto Mog immediately here. And Bolt 3 on an Esper as well is also very nice. Oh, and that last command was Rage. So we'll see what how our racers are able to parse through the Rage list as well. So
And it
I
looks
like
like
this play
Sorbius
from
is
Sorbs.
going for it. Yeah, it's nice. It's kind of the low odds shenanigans play that Sorbius is definitely good enough to pull it off.
Yeah, so I saw that the Blitz command is not too great at this point. You don't have Aura Ball, though you can grind up to get it and get Shadow. But it's going to be really interesting looking for that Rage command. You're going to want to see something like Phase or Brain Pan this early, because that's going to be 1,000 Needles. And 1,000 Needles at this point is going to do a lot of work. We also do
Oh,
have Retainer
retainer.
for another shock.
Toe Cutter's
But
also good with Shrapnel. Io is Flare Star.
yeah, so some pretty good ones here. I didn't see any of the ones that are 1,000 Needles though, which again is going to be probably your best bet this early game, just because nothing is really going to be doing 1,000 damage. But either way, that was a pretty good Rage list. Meanwhile, we have Noob going through sort of the standard, I would say, more standard opening and doing early looting before taking on checks. But I really do like this play from Sorbius. And that is a good EXP fight as well with those Nightshades. Once you kill one or two of those, they're going to go down in one shock command. And then you're just really hoping it's a boss you can take. And realistically, with the shock command, there are only a few bosses that can really stand in your way when you're only scaled this much.
So here's something I don't know about the lore command. If an enemy attempts to use what would be a lore spell, but fails due to it needing MP, do you learn the lore?
No, I do believe it has to hit your character. So the other another command in there actually, the Tyrannosaur as well. If you want to go and do some meteor shenanigans, or sorry, Meteo shenanigans, which is different in this game. Anyway, we do get a gauntlet here in the South Figaro basement, which is very nice for when you're able to wield what I would say are the sticks, that is the Illumina and the Ragnarok. And in Poots League, you have a pretty high chance of getting one or both of those sticks at some point through the seed. If you're really aggressively looking for it, you want to take dragons early, because those will be guaranteed high tier items. But we'll see if either of our racers decide that dragons are on the menu today. So we had a first look at the boss. What is playing Kefka? Kefka Narsh Atma weapon. This is actually early on, not too bad. There's a lot of EXP. Don't know if Sorbius decided to move that Phantom Esper around to get Sabin to learn Bolt 3. We know Mog actually knows it, but yeah, I don't know what Sorbius's level is. One of the big caveats to this particular fight is it will have a tendency to spam, say, L4 Flare early on. So hopefully not a multiple of 4. I thought Sorbs may have gotten another level from a random encounter.
Maybe he hit one off the little guys. but he was level 8 after doing the first batch of Nightshades.
Nice block. Getting some nice luck here on the 50% chance on the Rage command. Meanwhile, we have Noob Tree going what I would consider very unconventional up-mount Colts. And finding a really good fight here in these junks. They'll just essentially kill themselves after a while. Meanwhile, Sorbius getting through that ammo weapon, which is huge.
Yeah, fantastic start for Sorbius here.
Getting that Cella's, which opens up a whole host of fun things as well. 39 magic power, nothing to sneeze at. Again, we have that Bolt 3 Esper and Phantom, which, I mean, throughout the game, and especially early on with that high learning ability that you get in Poots League for, it's essentially randomized. Bolt 3 can be a pretty big carry early on. I know we've talked about it before, Scar. Early on, magic is sort of king, and then at the late game, that's when you're going to be wanting to swing a lot of sticks as the damage formula basically goes in that direction. So, having that Bolt 3 Esper is also another thing that gives a pretty big advantage to Sorbs at this point.
Gigantos is very nice. Cells probably dies in the front row here.
Just jump.
Yeah, good old defensive jump. I think jump is best used defensively in this game.
Unless you have a Dragon Horn, and we do have that fixed dice. So that is a possibility. But yeah, that Gigantos, probably the second best chest you can find. Maybe first, depending on what you want. If you want EXP,
Yeah.
there is nothing better. If you want an offering, Katana or money, Katana Souls, gets that covered here. But, I mean, Cella's, Shadow, and Sabin have so many checks between each other. Oh, I mean, if you were playing the seed, where would you actually go? Let's say past the Gal's Father House freebie, which I expect Sorbius to go to pretty quickly.
I would just go to Floating Continent.
Okay. Is that just from the shock perspective, or I know there are a few reasons to go there.
So it's 2 guaranteed pieces of progression. It's a bunch of encounters. It's auto image at the end in this flag set, but it's also, when I was getting into this game, it was a check people were despising, so I like doing it because I know other people don't. And I would imagine myself in Sorbius' shoes here racing Noob Tree, and I would also feel behind racing Noob Tree with how little time I've put into 6 lately.
Yeah, I think Floating Continent's incredibly solid play. The auto, back in an early version of Poots League, the auto image command was for Burning House. Thematically didn't make much sense, but I actually think it belonged there quite a bit more than Floating Continent. To your point, I think Floating Continent has a very bad reputation for a check that is incredibly strong. I understand it's not Doma Dream from Cyan, but 2 guaranteed pieces of progression is really huge in this game. Meanwhile, we do see the fish, medium-length fish on Noob's side, getting through the Rizzo pause. See if this pays off. Like I said, Mount Colts is a pretty uncommon play early on.
Stray.
Have you ever used Stray as an Esper?
I have thought about it. Every time I see that I have Siren equipped, I think I have Stray equipped. I want to use it, and just before I confirm the use, I remember, no, this is Mute. I wanted Charm.
Oh, but speed +2 and quick on that Esper. That's a really good Esper. Quick is essentially game. Quick is essentially game breaking if you know how to use it, and sometimes literally game breaking when it comes to the Kefka fight. But The speed plus 2 part of that is also huge. I love having a character early on sit on a speed plus 2 Esper and then essentially is able to solo the entirety of the climb.
Yeah, it looks like it went on the Blitz Shadow from Noob Tree. So this is going to be maybe Noob Tree's thinking about angling for Blitz. You need to get level 42 to get Blitz without Elite River, right?
Correct. Yeah, you get level 42, you go to Duncan's training hut in the north of World of Ruin, and you watch a good old minute plus cutscene that sometimes really doesn't feel worth it, and then you get Bum Rush. Meanwhile, we do get an Ifrit Esper out of the cell is check in the basement, and I also missed this on Noob's side as we were watching that Atma weapon. We actually picked up a Rage Ring while Noob is fighting Fumbaba here. HP tank, but shock is shock, so good thing on that end. But the Rage Ring is what I would consider for a lot of people a completely underrated accessory or relic. It gives you fire absorption and lightning immunity, which is pretty huge. The caveat there is that not every character can equip it. Yeti's the only one that can equip it naturally, so you have a chance of who can equip it. But Rage Ring is just one of those relics that I will never sell, and oftentimes I'll even pick one up.
Valiant Knife for Noob Tree. That's a big stick if someone can wield it. Yeah, I love the Rage Ring and the Blizzard Orb. Blizzard Orb isn't Merton protection though, is it?
Does it just nullify ice?
Yeah, I know it absorbs ice. Does it null fire?
I do not remember, to be honest. Which is saying something about how much I've used a Blizzard Orb.
Ooh, that carbuncle in
so,
Noob's
yeah.
inventory is HP Hondo, and Sabin can wear the Valiant Knife. I think we've got his carry locked in.
Yeah, now I'm curious. I mean, with this party and with this skill set, there is really no reason you shouldn't. I hate opening monsters in a box. I despise it in this flag set because there's always the feeling of there's a good chance you get an offering from a dead check. But when you have two people using shock and then you have a blitz user, I would just go ahead and start opening the monster boxes and seeing if you get a Katana Soul for an offering. This fight, on the other hand, here's some free advice. Don't take it.
And here's Sorbius going to the floating continent. Yeah, that's a pretty messed up encounter, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that encounter is very liable to kill you, but we do get an Edgar from here as well. So we're getting some pretty good divergence from our racers here. I know we've been talking over the past few nights, you and Sorbs, and how a lot of the seeds that you two have been running have been very linear in terms of character progression. This does not seem to be the case for this flag set, or for this seed. We do get the smoke bomb, correctly out of the level 20 and level 40 magic encounters. Getting back attack on the second one, which is always scary here, but luckily not the worst of the level encounters. As a reminder to people who are unfamiliar with Worlds Collide or Final Fantasy VI, if you are playing the game and you see level magics in any encounter and it's not just the single level 50 encounter, just run away. You get no EXP, you get a little bit of magic points, but you probably are also just going to die. The single level 50, you can revivify your Phoenix down to get your magic points there, which is actually pretty nice. Meanwhile, is that what the Edgar had?
Yeah, M-Tech. I didn't catch his magic stat there, but it should be early enough that we can pump him up with a Magasper if it appears.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious if Noob is going to really ever chase Mog's checks. It's a pretty hard commit. in like the mid to late game to go Mog checks to me. So we'll see if that actually ends up happening here. It's also worth noting that. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know what's worth noting. I want to know what's worth noting first.
Oh, both of our racers currently have a character that can equip a big stick naturally. So Edgar on Noob's side and the Cellas on Sorbius' side. So I'm curious when our racers are going to find a stick.
Yeah, that'll be fun to see. I was just gonna make another comment about Mog. Mog feels like a now or never type of character. Like if you get Mog in your opening party, you either do the lone wolf in the first 5 minutes when you walk into Narsh for the first time, or you never do it. It doesn't feel like it's worth it later on.
Yeah, I guess the exception there would be if you then find a Terra early on in the seed, then you're already halfway there. But yeah. We did get a Setzer out of the Edgar Throne check, which is just going to pile on these really quick checks here. And we'll see where Noob takes that. Flame Eater, thankfully not that much HP. Always a bit awkward when you don't have ice magic, but thankfully Shock, being non-elemental, does get that through. And I believe that is the first of the two bosses in Floating Continent. We do get a full heal between Floating Continent, the first boss and the second boss. And more Magicites. Here's Ghost Train. Well, you know what you get in...
Remember suplex.
It doesn't look like it, which is really a shame here because there is an objective in Poots League that says if you...
He did input.
Did he? I mean, I do see it. I sincerely hope we get the... Oh no, it was horrible. No! So, XY down up is your suplex, and Poots League does have an objective saying that if you suplex a train, you do get an EXP egg. And eggs are really good. Meanwhile, we do actually have Noob Tree going up to the Mog checks, which is interesting to me with a few more Sabin stuff on the table, but
He might just be thinking about his sphering, Mog being sphere 0 in this seed alongside Sabin. Sabin's checks are nice, so get the not so nice things out of the way.
So yeah, I think the basically the chain of thought is earlier spheres lead you to more espers, and we're pretty character heavy right now, and Nutree's now has the information that we are going to have 6 characters once you do Kefka and Narch, which is all we need for go mode. We would just need the rest of the 9 espers to come along. Meanwhile, while Noob Tree was doing that, did you see what Sorbs picked up on that Esper in Floating Continent?
I did not see what it had. I saw it was an Esper. I didn't see what it had. What did it have?
It had Strength +2 as the bonus.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what the spells were, but I'm not gonna say no to a Strength +2 Esper. Not needed for Shadow if your plan is to do, use Bum Rush being a magic command, but honestly, worth thinking about putting it on the Cellas that is guaranteed to be able to swing a sword if you ever find one.
I think that is where Sorbius assigned that Esper.
Okay. Save point. Now my question to... Okay, so you come out of Kefka and Arshir on Noob's side. Do you take Moogle defense?
Yeah, it's still Sphere 0, and isn't it Auto Shell?
Yes, I believe in Poots League. It's Auto Shell, and I think Zone Eater is auto safe.
Yeah, it lines up nicely, and you can warp stone out of it at the end.
Yeah, one of the things that is very nice about the Poots League flag set is you start with 10 Warp Stones and 10 Phoenix Downs. Uh, I think you and me both have had the experience of I'm not doing this check because I haven't found Warp Stones, and then you never find Warp Stones and you're a little bit sad. There's that
Yeah.
L for Flare. Let's see who gets 3. Yeah. Luckily, not everybody. But we just have a Raging Sabin now, and it's Raging Sabin versus an Atma weapon, who, unfortunately, that's going to
Blowfish!
do it. 1,000 needles. Meanwhile, a Phoenix
This is
Esper on Sorb's side.
it's very nice. We'll see what it's got.
Please save. Okay, we did have a save, thankfully, on Noob Tree's
Yeah,
side.
he did. He did save going into it. Oh, Ice 3 off of Phoenix.
That's really nice for parts of Kefka.
It's also Ice 3 times 20, so you're just gonna knock
One
that
fight.
out and spread it out real easy.
Yeah, it's really nice to just be able to get it done with one fight, mostly regardless of what it is. There are a couple fights I think that don't give magic points, but
Yeah, those really early encounters.
yeah, well, naughties are the big one actually. You don't get anything from naughties, but
I thought you got magic points from them.
I thought you didn't get. I thought you didn't get anything. Or do you get 15 or 3? I guess in vanilla.
I think you get magic points from them. They're just annoying because they're unrunnable. They're like the only unrunnable. Are they always unrunnable? Is there no way to make them not unrunnable?
Yeah, they're always unrunnable. We had found that out, I want to say, during the Warren Triad tournament a year and a half, 2 years, some time ago in Worlds Collide. And I want to say my match against the Gambler during that had naughties and Burning House, which was very unfun. We are going to get this item. Adrenalu. And what do we have? Ooh, well, good news, we have Shock.
Good news, Shock. Good news, Blitz. Pummel bypasses defense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't really have that much defense. The big thing here is the evade is generally very high. Another L4 Flare coming out here. Using magic is difficult just simply because there's only going to be one vulnerability and one absorption, and you don't know what unless you scan. So Shock here is actually your best bet here. And now Sorbs looks like a genius for saving before that fight.
Yeah. I mean, Sorbs has been watching for a while, and he's seen the shenanigans. Shrapnel, also very good for this bypass defense.
Yep.
It's big.
True. Getting through that Atma weapon is going to collect their Cellas, and we'll see where they go. Lots of quick checks available.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. I would be surprised if it wasn't Moogle defense from here. I can see why Sorbs didn't do it when he finished out. But no, also skipping Moogle defense.
All right, we got the unfortunate double turn that ends up happening on the script. Hopefully, we get enough shrapnels here that just gets rid of this Magimaster. That something on Sabin. I'm guessing at this point it's a ooh.
Ooh, it's unfortunate, but it's a good thing he did save. For most of us, that would be forfeit territory.
Yeah, I'm curious. What you can do is take on that ammo weapon spot, and then instead of activating the statue cutscene, you can go back to the ship, and then once you return to Floating Continent, it'll put you right back there. So I'm curious if we're gonna see that. But yeah, no, Magimaster, yeah, got a Rage Ring. That will work wonders with Magimaster. This is one of those really nice cases to putting it on. Get a couple of those immunities from Magimaster being Magimaster. Certainly a way to approach it. Meanwhile, Nutri going to that basement and grabbing Solus's free check. Uh, as a fun little note here, I think we had timed it to be slightly faster to walk through the basement rather than basically go backwards. It's really not all that much time. It is just slightly faster though. We get our first Zen check.
Hey.
You want to get that item or Esper for 63,000?
No.
No? Okay. Well, maybe the economy's a little bit better in the World of Ruin. I'm sure. Well, okay. Now we're gonna find out. So, despite the Sabin start in our party, we are now gonna go to Collapsing House. I wonder if this is just waiting to be able to confidently take on those monster boxes. If there so happens to be a Katana Soul. I hate these NPCs.
Yeah, I think this is the worst game as far as NPCs. Like, they really need to have a version of Y remove that doesn't obliterate logic, so that we can just play with Y remove and Y remove the annoying NPCs without having to think about logic breaks.
Yeah, I would think my most, let's say, hated NPC, besides the kid in the auction house, would be if I could just remove that second green guard in Zone Eater or Go-Go's Cave. I would really enjoy that improvement.
Oh yeah, just remove all of them. Just remove all three of them. They don't need to be there. Free them. Free them. Let them live their lives. They don't need to guard the bridge. It's just a bridge.
It's not even a big bridge.
Yeah,
It's
there's no
normally
bridge.
sized. Oh, if there was a Greg on that bridge, I would go there first every single seed. Meanwhile, Snow Muffler from the Collapsing House, notably not taking the monster in the boxes, so not searching for Katana Soul with a Valley Knife in hand for that offering. Cheaper in the World of Ruin by a little less than half. But that Snow Muffler is nice. We have a guaranteed wearer of that Snow Muffler and Mog. And we'll see if anyone else is going to be able to equip it.
Ooh, sold the Rage Ring. I don't know if we've picked up much more elemental defense on Noob Tree's side.
Yeah, I feel like this has been pretty light on elemental defense. We get Alexander for the price of 36,000 GP. Now sitting at 6 and 6. And we'll see how this particular Magimaster attempt goes. We get a good Aegis Shield block from that bolt too, even though we did already have the Rage Ring on that Mog, but either way, 0 damage is 0 damage, and we will accept that.
Looks like we're... Is this Opera House for Noob Tree? Just straight up? Or no, that's the dragon. Okay.
Red Dragon, yeah.
About 600 damage from the pummels here for Sorbs. Not going to be terrible.
Meanwhile, we have a White Dragon over on the Noob's side. So, low HP, didn't get spammed with a bunch of opening attacks, which is always nice. Goes down. And an egg. Or that white dragon at Opera House. Goes right on Sabin. With that VK in hand. Makes sense.
Nice. And Sorbius threw on the second attempt by the skin of his teeth.
Well, you only need 1 HP to get through a fight. Meanwhile, we found the second Atma. Here's Toiled Atma in the skies. That's... I mean, it's something. That is always hilarious to me, Scar. That reward from floating content that gives you auto-image. Gives you the Esper that gives you image.
Gives you the image Esper. I didn't even catch that.
Also, speed +2 again. Very nice. I didn't even see the X zone on that strength +2 Esper. Instant death is always appreciated in any party, even though it has a tendency to miss. But again, things we will take.
We all know that X zone will miss exactly when you don't want it to.
And it won't miss exactly when you need it to miss, aka when your X zone using character is confused. So, Atma is down for Noob Tree. Sorbs going into Imperial Camp is going to find that Edgar, which will then lead Sorbius probably to do Edgar's free check, which will get Setzer pretty quickly. Auto image. Okay. The real question is, in what Final Fantasy game where the image status exists, where is it not broken? And in this case, I'm going to count Ruse as being image from Final Fantasy 1. I think the point is that image is this broken.
Yeah, I think Ruse is actually the closest to not being broken because of the prevalence of damaging spells on bosses in that game. Like, there aren't a lot of bosses that just punch you in one by means of there just not being a lot of bosses. It's mostly Kraken and Kraken 2 that beat you down with their fists.
I've seen some punchy Chaoses too.
Yeah, Chaos can punch pretty hard, but Chaos, you know, if we're thinking about, I mean, either vanilla or FFR, Chaos has nuke, and he's just gonna blow your party up for 400 damage at some point.
Look, I'm trying to mine you for information for when FFR is in this particular circuit or tournament. So we don't know what games are going to be up on tap for the next iteration of this in a few months.
Yeah, but you will. But you know, everyone will get a say. We're going to put it to a vote.
Meanwhile, Noob Tree or Noob going on 2 floating content. This makes sense. You are 2 pieces of progression away from go mode. Why not go to where there are 2 guaranteed pieces of progression? I'm gonna be curious to see how Noob approaches this, knowing that the first 2 checks are going to be Espers. That's going to be the Kefka unlock there. Does Noob decide to go forward past that point? We know what's waiting for him if he does. Or is Noob just going to back out and go to the ship and leave without doing that 3rd spot? Which to me is a difficult decision when you have auto image at the end here.
I think it's a matter of check count. Let's see. Is Noob Tree running an auto tracker? I think I hit with Nad, unfortunately. Because if we are like
yes,
1 or 2
there is
checks
an auto
away
tracker.
from skip, okay. What's this
So,
check count?
It's at 13 right now. Which means it'll be 15 by the time we get go. We've already done Opera House Dragon. So to me, there's no real viable way to get skip that would save you time. So I feel like once if you really value auto image, and there are reasons you should, then yes, it's really tough not to continue on floating continent. And then you get to try your luck on the Magimaster that is, of course, there. But you're not doing it for skip. I think for Noob, there's no real reason or way you get skip in this seed that makes logical sense.
Yeah, that's fair. Though it looks like Sorbius is going immediately to loop that freebie in with Engine Room and Ancient Castle, which I like this. Completing Ancient Castle gives you auto haste, which
Yep.
again, I don't know if Sorbius felt behind going into this like I would have, but auto haste is definitely a good hedge against that feeling.
Yeah, and it's also worth noting that Sorbius doesn't have really a weapon at this point. Of course, Noob has the Valiant Knife HP plus 100 and now the egg from that Opera House Dragon. But the Sorb's offense right now is, pretty lacking in terms of endgame. Shock is shock. But you really want something more than that, and we do see that suplexing on the train from Noob's side. Second egg is nice. It's not nearly as as influential as that first egg, but we will always take eggs. Yeah, we'll see what this engine room is. Of course.
It could be worse.
Yeah. I think probably the best rage here would have been Io's for that Flare Star. Hitting a good amount for Hydon here. I didn't see what Sorbs decided to press, but Pearl will do it as well.
Yeah, I think he just went for the toe cutter again.
Okay.
I know Sorbs doesn't particularly like the way that the rage layout is laid out, like having to memorize so many individual abilities is a frustrating ask.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think one of the advantages is you generally will learn like 10 of them, 10 to 15 of them of things you may actually use. But then it takes a lot of practice to understand where they're going to fall on that list, because at least the ordering, once you know the ordering is always going to stay the same. But that takes a considerable amount of time and effort to fully sort of integrate into your I don't really want to say muscle memory, but just awareness.
Yeah, and Io just might not just wait. Io might not be in that 10 to 15 that Sorbus has decided to memorize, because there's probably 20, like if I really think about it, there's probably 20 that I've memorized, and I've been playing this one a lot longer than he has, and it is just a big spreadsheet of what do I want to do.
Yup. It is definitely a learning curve, and it's something that you just pick up on after playing a let's say a lot of seeds where the number a lot is relatively big. So that is as generic as possible.
Oh yeah, Ebbets Rock giving a billion rages in this flag set could mess with your memory.
Yep. Yeah, you get 128 rages for Ebbets Rock, and somehow Stray Cat never really seems to find its way on that list. For those of you unfamiliar with Worlds Collide, Stray Cat is your best physical rage. It does 4 times damage. With a fair number of things. The formula is a little bit off for things like a Valiant Knife. and Lose and Radrocks, but Stray Cat is your sort of premier physical rage that we really like to see. That is unlocked for Noob and is actually just going to walk out, which we know in terms of, let's say, danger levels, this is the correct play. It's always nice to not see Magi Master at the end of this. So, yeah.
I'm curious what his calmness plan is then, if he even has one.
We have Phantom, which can be utilized. You have to be a little bit careful here. We do have that quick magic, which is going to cause a few problems on that plan. Quick being magic, once you use the quick command, you will basically unphantom yourself and leave vulnerability to that calmness attack. But it may be worth it. We actually do see it. Okay, we're going to double run the tower on Noob's side. So we're going to clear out the right lane first. There's a rarity in Poots, honestly. Clear out that right lane first all the way up to Pulte, and then split our party 2 ways for the left and the center. It's a fair play. We're at pretty low levels, with the exception of that Sabin. I'm curious if we're going to take on that dragon to get another chance at seeing an offering. Or a stick of any sort.
I mean, it's just levels at this point. You probably should. Especially with hitting go mode so early.
Yeah, it's definitely a play one can make. If there's nothing wrong with that play, I think it would be a good idea. Just again, you take a look at our offense. Our offense right now on Noob's side is, from a physical standpoint, it's Sabin using a VK with an HP plus 100 and no offering. Which is fine, but it's not ideal. An offering makes that significantly better, and your one way to get an offering other than, hey, it's sitting in the validation chest or something, is take on a dragon. You have a good chance here. But Sorbs does find a stick. Not an Esper, but we were kind of looking for a stick, and we also have a gauntlet to go along with it as well, so...
Who's he the Gauntlet Hyperist?
Makes sense. We no longer have to worry about the haste ability, because now we also have auto haste. And just want to... We know we have a strength plus 2 Esper, so that's also probably going to want to move on to this Edgar. But... be fine. Meanwhile, we got Tentacles here. On Noob's side at the Inferno spot. It's great to see these when you have a full party. It is awful to see when you're actually split up for Kefka's Tower and you have one viable character. Although in this case you normally have 2 because you're using right tower as the most bosses. So the right tower would see 3 bosses, and then the left and the middle would see 1 boss is sort of what you would have to do. The middle tower has an optional dragon and the toilet Atlas spot if you care to do it. Meanwhile, okay, VK and the Ragnarok both sitting in the ancient castle. Sweet. We're finally getting our sticks on Sorb's side. But this is going to be interesting. I'm really curious to see what's going to be coming out of this dragon here for Noob.
Oh, Ifrit's HP hundo. Oh, then you should be checking if that Mog can equip it. He's got double HP.
I mean, that's been doing 7,000 and a swing at 1,200 HP. This will certainly boost it even more. Eggs are good. Hot take. Let's see. Okay, there is that stick for Noob. That's going to actually be pretty huge. Also having that gauntlet, so now you have another physical attacker. And at the end game, physical attacking is just so much faster than magic. with like the exception of you have Murden protection and you're using Murden, that's maybe slightly faster on tier 1 and tier 2. But physical is king at the end game.
Yeah, the physical damage formula references the square of your level, which is very, very fun.
I like big numbers. That's why I like this Gaia. Oh, yes, we do have to move the rest of our characters into position so that we can take on the Guardian and the Pulti spot. For Noob, for Noob, if you're in his shoes, you kind of take a look at the bosses you haven't, or bosses you have fought, and the ones that are still outstanding. And this tower is pretty frightening.
Yeah, we've got all 3 of the vanilla statues. We've got... He hasn't seen Magimaster.
Still don't have Guardian. Doomgaze is still out there.
Doomgaze. He hasn't seen... Haydn. Though we know it's...
Yeah, well, and on a split Kefka tower, that can be pretty bad depending on what your party is. Which, again, leads quite a bit to doing this sort of double walk here. It is a fair bit of time investment, but the safety and the level gain here is pretty huge. So I think one of the big things here with Sorbs, not just that auto image helping on the protect the Ragnarok user in the front row with the gauntlet, but I also think Sorbs is going to be in the position to get skip. Just having those extra checks in the Ancient Castle being dead. We got frame ruled on the switches here. If you transition your character on the same frame, that character steps on a switch. It doesn't actually activate that you stepped on the switch. It's always annoying. Sorbius is going to get their Esper out of here. I think we also have Colgan, which I imagine we will go to very quickly.
Yeah, that is also an Esper.
Yeah, and then it's, we have Zen. There's really no... I would have to imagine this is Colgan and Zen, and then you're just kind of... That will be your Espers. So here's our Colgan stop.
What's funny is Sorbius hasn't done Collapsing House yet, and you're locked in, so he might do Tritalk instead, because that's more levels, and levels are king.
Yeah, let's see. Pull up Sorb's stream. I thought Sorbs would be at more checks than 13.
The floating continent was a very long experience having to do, double walk it, and the Magimaster was slow both times.
Yeah, I think I'm just forgetting Sorbs did not do Barren Falls. I like to go Daryl's Tomb here, which is fine. But to your point as well, yeah, Tritalk would make a lot of sense. If you go up to Tritalk, you get the dragon up there. That gets you 14. You get the Tritalk spot, which gives you 15. Collapsing House and Zen gives you, 16 and 17, and then it's your standard 3-check skip with Opera House, Dragon, and Center Lane. So that would be the way you could get skip in Sorb's shoes as well. Meanwhile, we get a third egg in Noob's side.
Honestly, I think Sorbs is in Daryl's Tomb because he's a big fan of proximity of checks. Just do what's closest, because it's basically how Final Fantasy randomizer works logically. Is you just always want to do the thing that's closest.
Yeah, makes sense.
There's also a monster box here, so we could see a peek for Yeah, peak for an offering.
And there it is. Just go here. You don't have to go to Collapsing House to open those two monsters in the box. That's silly. The Katana Soul is clearly in Daryl's gym. Narapa over on Noob's side, taking the place of Guardian. So not much there.
It's so rude that the break animation plays out against immune enemies, because if you don't know, you just keep casting break.
Yeah. I don't think we had Muddle, and even if we did, I think we're doing quite a bit. We're doing enough damage, I don't
We
think
had
it cares.
Stray.
Oh, yeah, we do have Stray. The one time it would become of use. There's also a Rage that does it as well, but like we had it. Meanwhile, no EXP
Evil
at
Oscar
the
does Sourmouth, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, does Sourmouth confuse, though? I know it blinds him to make him
Blinds
easier
mute.
to fight.
Blind and mute. I forget what other statuses are in play there. And we got the no EXP at the Pulti fight being that it was just Ultras for tragic. We have the character that must not be named.
Oh, the famed governor of Illinois.
Ah, yes.
Also a dastardly magic card if you get him to pop off.
I can imagine Rexel having a very high amount of magic defense. Ice 3 being Rexel's weakness, but not doing quite as much damage. Your physical offense here is going to be absolutely king in dealing with this Rexel quickly.
Yeah, unfortunately that Saban's still sitting in the back row there.
Fortunately, not FF4. We do not have a back row glitch. We have a question in chat about the Yomaro situation. I don't know how to break it to that person about the fact that Yomaro is still on a missing case poster. One day, we believe Yomaro will be found.
He's having a vacation. He went out to Tahiti. He's having mimosas on the beach. He's fine.
Like, you get that Rexol, we get that thing. Some people like that character more than others. It's a little bit too late for us to do anything with Gogo.
Yeah, Gogo is like Tella. He's an excellent utility character. Like, it's a bad rap.
I mean, in the right situations, and oddly enough, this is one of those ones where you can sort of make do because we have that Blitz command, but then you would have to commit to Bum Rush to make it viable. If you had Ultima, it's fine too. One of the really neat tricks with Gogo is the Mimic command does not care if you fail X Magic on a user, so if you have X Magic Ultima, that's your best way through a fight, and Gogo is that second character. Even if you don't have enough MP to cast it twice, once you mimic the X Magic command, so you would actually have two Ultimas coming out from Gogo. It's very niche, but it is something that I've used a couple times in the past. Meanwhile, Sorb's unfortunately getting that the triple on the White Dragon intro, which it can do anything from 0 to 3 actions, and I think we've seen both sides of that. But it's dead.
Yeah, White Dragon, a bit of a glass cannon.
Make your day really miserable if you find it early. And get an egg. Put it on the Sabin. Nothing wrong with that. With that HP plus 100 Esper. curious if collapsing house is going to be Sorb's next play here, or looks like it may be that Tritalk.
Closest. Oh yeah, right up the Tritalk. Doesn't want to do the walk. He wants XP. So is that 15 checks? So we'll be at 17 after this, and then it's...
You still have to go to Zen.
If he goes for skip. Yeah, which you'd be locked, and then... Well, I guess you do it in the world of balance if you don't want to get locked into...
Yeah, I mean, you could... or you could say, I don't want to fight the Toil Dynamo spot and just do the whole thing, although that takes a little bit more time. So yeah, at this point, yeah, we know it's 64,000 GP or something like that for that Esper and World of Balance, but we're late enough in the game that you can sell you can sell things to make 64,000 work. And we did just get 65,000 from Katana Soul. So yeah, we have more than enough GP.
Ooh, and Maga is Cure 3. That's very nice. Cure 3, more like Cure 7.
Meanwhile, we got Noob Tree going for the other two statues. Looks like we had forgotten to open a door. That does happen. But done that before?
Yeah, we've all done that.
You're so used to getting skip where you don't have to go back and do that. We'll see what the seed holds for these last two bosses. Are we gonna get more non-threatening fights, or is something gonna rear its ugly head? I mean, yes, it's an ugly head, but not nearly threatening enough. Not gonna make the joke, Scar.
Good. It's a terrible joke. It's almost as bad as that other joke we don't make.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we got Blue Dragon down on the Sorb side. See what the Tritalk spot holds. Mid-40s is just such a disgusting amount of levels.
Yeah, your lowest level character being 39 on a lane is pretty nasty, gnarly. This is free, though.
Yep. Good old Ultras 2, not at the Opera House, has left the building anyways. I want to see a Doom Gaze. Or a Pulte. No, that... If you were so... I mean, look, this meteor is going to do hundreds of damage.
No. Barely. Oh, yeah, hundreds. I was thinking we should do like 1,000.
No.
Then no.
No, there's no magic power. I mean... If that Illuma used Ultima, it might do like 600 damage per character. Like Tunnel Armor using Ultima, which is in the script. Once you go high enough in ability scaling, it will do like 400 damage. It's fantastic. But yeah, a bunch of paper bags sitting here in Kefka's tower, which is a little bit of a shame.
Sorb still had Gao's father's house to check out.
All right. Okay.
So I think that puts them at 18 checks. So we can do middle for skip.
Yep, that would be the plan. But we do see, with no resistance really in Kefka's tower, Noob heading onto the switches to fight that boss, that thing that has, that music soundtrack that people really like.
It's pretty good. It's pretty banger. I think overall 6 has the best soundtrack on the SNES. It doesn't have the individual best song, but the quality of Six's soundtrack is just too consistent throughout.
Yeah, and I would like to take this moment to rant about Theater Rhythm and only playing like half of the fourth amusement as their Dancing Mad track. Uh, why were they a bunch of cowards and didn't put in 9 minutes of Dancing Mad? I don't know. Or the full track, which is just it repeated for 18 minutes. But that's my rant. Meanwhile, we have a leader here. Yeah, goodbye.
Vaya con Dios.
Here we go. We got Kefka Tier 1 for Noob Tree. This is honestly, if you've played Final Fantasy VI, this fight really doesn't need much of an introduction, but we can go through it anyways. Tier 1 having these 3 parts. The most important part is that short arm, which is on the right, is what you want to have die last. Both of the other parts have counters if they are the last standing. The head has Quake. That long arm on the left has 0 to 3 shockwaves. True Edge from Raiden giving instant death, and I don't understand it actually hitting, but it did. So good to see that can happen.
It hits with medium to high reliability for me, so I don't know. Maybe you need to check your RNG seed.
No, I know what my RNGC does. It's I've heard it be described like possum-like, which is the opposite of if I check my notes, Martin, Judge Joe, and Rybon-like. It's truly tragic. Also, nice confused Celis and Sorb's side. So we got 2 parts down. Yeah, that egg and HP plus 100 on that Valiant Knife user. That Sabin doing quad 9s already at 3,000 health. Always great to see. Sorb's warping out of Kefka's tower is going to then warp onto that switch. Or to fight on the last 4 bosses, in which they're not really threatening. We'll see how Sorbs creates their party. And now tier 2. Got some, we do have X Zone for instant death on that tools in the center. We do have Ice 3 for that Tiger Face, which is going to be priority number 1 once you start attacking it. I think once it gets down 10,000 health or so, it can start using the fun abilities, which are absolutely tragic, like Doom Tusk and Northern Cross and Doom Tusk. So getting rid of that, definitely the priority here.
What's the one that zombifies a party member?
Doom Tusk? Yeah.
It is Doom Tusk. Oh, I thought Doom Tusk was just punch you in the face for big. Oh, I'm thinking of
Nope.
Honed Tusk.
Yeah. But that Tiger Face is dead. We do not have Mute, so we are seeing that magic come out. Edgar's defense might be a little lacking here. 2,800 damage on that Fire 3 is a number. It's a large number. There are plenty of characters in Final Fantasy IV that don't even reach that HP until ridiculously stupid levels.
Yeah, Edgar. No, Edward. Damn.
Either or.
They're the same guy.
Oh, that's offensive. Is the is the Alu
They're
in this
both...
scenario the Loki's harp then?
Is the Illumina the Loki's harp? Maybe.
Doesn't have those weaknesses hit though, and it seems to proc against Pearl absorbing enemies. Goddess, Appa, tragic. So we're gonna watch the Condemns come out of Sorb's side. We get the turn into an imp spell on Noob's side. The reason why I always ensure that I have 1 or 2 green cherries on my inventory, because every time I forget about that fact, I see that imp spell way too often in tier 2, and I die a little bit on the inside while my timer increases. But yeah, to your point earlier, we don't have a great way to make it so that everyone is immune to calmness. Like you were mentioning before, we have Phantom, which does give you Vanish status to get you through that. But if we're planning to use something like Quick to get around that, Quick will break that Vanish spell. So I'm curious how Noob is going to approach tier 3. There are a few ways through it, and I'm going to be curious to see which one he does. Like we all know, the fastest calmness protection is to not bother with it.
It's also the least reliable.
What do you mean? Every time I have a double Lu equipped character, it's guaranteed to target that character, and that character somehow doesn't block it. I think that's pretty reliable.
It's not the not the reliability we're asking out of it. Yeah, after 30k damage, you know, this one part of Final Kefka is basically just Romus. You beat him up a bunch, he uses media.
Yeah, if you want to be exact here, it's about 28.9, which might not seem like it's an important distinction. And wow, this Ultras was giving Sorbs the business. The reason why that's important is because you think, oh, you have quad 9s, you can hit 3 times. Unfortunately, that's not the case. If you do 3 times 9999, you will be in that rage phase. I'm not paid enough by my sponsor. Unfortunately, yeah, this is the problem with this particular setup. If you're not well versed in it, Train or Meteo is going to cause that Phantom to break, and so now all of our characters are not immune to calmness. So now we're just playing the just get lucky game, which the Ragnarok wielding Edgar successfully getting lucky in the context of blocking calmness. Can't comment on any other form of it. And here we go, Scar. Saw him once before. He's back.
Yep, and we get to hear the second best tune in Final Fantasy VI.
The laughter?
Well, yeah, it starts with the laughter, but you know, the final movement of Dancing Mad here.
Yep. We are going to be looking to do about 30,000 damage in quick order before Fallen One comes out. I don't think we get there. I think we do see a Fallen One. No Mega Elixir on Noob's side, just on the fact that we didn't fight the Magi Master. So, gonna have to... Without an offering, we're gonna have to cure out of that Fallen One. It's not gonna matter.
You're 3.
Yep. It's not going to matter because Sabin's still doing quad 9s even with like 3,000 or 4,000 health, and this isn't going to heal nearly that much. Once we get the counter, or once we get a counter on a damage hit like that, that's when we know we're on line to get a gunner charge. If we continue to attack without it, we always will have a chance to get countered until this charge happens in the Beyond Chaos phase or the gunner charge phase. So now we want to attack as much as possible. Unfortunately, not weight tracking that Phoenix down probably means we do see the Goner, but maybe not. Maybe we're doing enough damage. And we are.
Yeah, that's it. All right. So that is Noob Tree finished with a racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 9 seconds. See if he wants to
And
join for an interview.
GG's to Noob taking that, and is officially going to be invited to do that Flagset collaboration among a variety of different games. There's no guarantee that 4 Mystic Quest and 6 are going to be the games chosen for the next circuit. It is up to a community vote over on the FF4L channel. So if you want to influence what games that we are going to play the next time around in a couple months, make sure to join the Discord, vote on that as well. But the flag sets are going to be chosen by the quote winners of the tournament, which there will be multiple.
Yep, Noob Tree is the third of potentially 5. The
Yeah.
other 2 matches which can produce a winner of this tournament are Fiery Blizzard's match against Power Bonking sometime on Sunday, and my match against Ainmeyer Kath sometime on Saturday.
Could be a packed weekend then.
It will be a
I
packed
saw
weekend.
yours was going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern.
It looks like we're maybe pushing that back. Well, we'll see on the day of. I'm being flexible about it because well, I can't be flexible about it, so we'll be flexible.
Yeah, yeah.
Needs money.
I'll if no one else joins that, I'll consider. I'll see if I'm around to restream it. But meanwhile, let's talk about this race. Let's congratulate one of the winners of the tournament. We are joined in the booth by Noob or Noob Tree. GG's.
Thank you, thank you. It's a super fun tournament, honestly. Something new every week. It felt like.
That's good. That's good. Did you get a chance to play all 3 games over the course of this one?
I didn't get a chance to play Mystic Quest because everyone who I thought would pick Mystic Quest, I know is way better than me at Mystic Quest. So I was like, I'm gonna ban that here. But I did practice a lot of the SGL stuff, and just having the opportunity each week, if something was like there, having so much variety, it felt like a smorgasbord, like a little buffet of gaming.
That's one of the points. When entering this, did you think you had a chance to be one of the winners overall?
I'll be honest, I'm still very new at Mystic Quest and Worlds Collide, and I am in the Moogle Cup right now, so I've been doing a lot of Worlds Collide. I did the Shrug to Speed with Mystic Quest, so I did a lot of that. I didn't think I would have a chance to be one of the winners, but I was gonna give it my darndest because I've been putting a lot of work into this, like over 150 seeds over the past like 2 months for each game. So um, it's awesome to be able to say that I'm up here because I really like competing, and everybody I ran against was really good. To be able to hold my own against them makes me feel better as a person and as a runner. So it's good to be here for sure.
I know
Yeah,
it's been fantastic to see this. I feel like I got to talk to Golden Shocker about overworking you though.
No, I don't think Shocker knows that that's my agenda. Unfortunately I tend to start one practice seed and then I have 6 done by the end of the day, and I'm like, wait, why is it dark outside? What happened?
I know that's your agenda. That's why I was very excited to see you sign up for this tournament, knowing that you put so much time and effort into what you do. I was very excited to see that pay out here, going 4-1 overall.
Yeah, and anytime I see you involved in anything for setting up tournaments, I always know it's gonna be a fantastic race. I'm like, oh, Scar's in charge of this. They come up with some really good stuff. So it was fun seeing the FF4 all community finally get together to have something like this with so many different minds coming together for the flag sets and ideas, and we all voted on it too. So if you're out there in the Discord, make sure you vote for the next one as well, because it's gonna be awesome, I'm sure. Yeah,
and you'll have a chance to put a flag set on that vote. Have you put any thought about what you want to contribute there?
I haven't had time to think about anything other than pressing buttons and running fast. But it did cross my mind when I saw the post today. I was looking at it. I was like, what interesting things can I come up with? and typically I leave that to people like Tall Grant, to Possum, to you, the ones who are more in depth in the mechanics of how the flags work and interact with each other. But this would be my first foray into that, and I'm excited to have like earned a spot to be able to say, hey, yeah, here's my idea.
Yeah. Well, if you're always stumped, as I always say, radarists steal. So if you can't come up with something yourself, grab something somebody else came up with that you know is good, and you'll get credit for suggesting it.
Hey, I've got this idea called Mo Susu. Nothing to do with Sumomo. Sorry.
It's actually named after a cat, not a dog.
Yes.
Oh, here's a question. What were you going to do if calmness blew you away like that? You went in with no protection, and you decided to skip Floating Continent 3.
Well, so I had Phantom, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be risky because I got one cast of Phantom, and I don't know if I don't get an offering if I have enough damage to get past Meteor phase, which I didn't, and I didn't. So my whole idea was like, well, we take the loss and move on, and I think we have enough power to kind of get through this. It's gonna be sketchy, but we just try it, and it worked out very luckily that Edgar decided to block the calmness. And I'm not gonna lie, when Goner phase was happening, I was kind of sweating a little bit more than normal, because at that point, that was like the DPS check. I was like, I don't know if I do have enough to get past, to survive a Goner. I'm very low on resources. I'm very low on, I can't heal. Edgar's down again. But it just, the math went my way with a couple of rolls, and I got very, very lucky. But all in all, it was all about YOLO, because Sorbius is a good racer of any randomizer that they run, and I did not want to play it too safe. And once I saw I had go mode, I was like, I'm just going in. I gotta get some levels and go.
Yeah, a little bit lucky on that end, actually. If you had decided to go to Flooding Continent, even though you're far away from Jack just for auto-image, that is where Magimaster was hiding at, which can be a very unpleasant surprise. And it was, unfortunately, for Sorbius. But yeah, making the correct call there, honestly, to just get out and double walk the tower. I'm curious, particularly when you were going through that first walk and taking on that dragon, how relieved were you to see finally a Ragnarok for a character? Because I think at the time you were really just rolling the Valiant Knife on Sabin without an offering, so, what were your thoughts on getting that stick?
It felt good to have a little bit of extra damage, because shock is fine. It's not great late game. It'll get you there, but it won't really make or break the seed in a good way. And Valiant Knife, it's great with all the HP that I had, but it just wasn't, that's not gonna wipe every tier easily. Seeing that Ragnarok come out, I was like, awesome. I have a little bit of strength. I have a little bit of power. We can do some more damage more consistently without having to cast spells every turn. We can save Edgar for Cure 3. So seeing that was a bit of a relief, and I did enjoy seeing, quad numbers without having to cast Bolt 3 every turn.
Yeah, physical damage is always going to be faster, especially in your case with the number of eggs you ended up getting through the seed. Definitely appreciate it to have more physical offense.
Yeah, I was running a continental breakfast with what I had.
Nothing wrong with that.
I will say, my second run through, I messed up my order of my team. Because typically I want to go, when you get to that mid spot in the tower, I want to go left, then right. But I was like, oh wait, I put Setzer in slot 2. I have to go right then left. So I started focusing on that. I completely forgot to open the doors for everyone with Setzer whenever I got through there. I was like, oops. Well, I guess we're walking back.
I hate to tell you this, but no matter how many seeds you run or how long you play Worlds Collide, that is going to happen eventually at some point.
I'm glad to hear it.
So you're not alone on that being a thing. It's going to happen again. Just accept it.
Will do. At least it's entertaining for the audience. That's my main thing, is to put on a show.
Yeah, no, this was a really great race to watch. There was a lot of divergence legitimately from the first minute on. For instance, Sorbius decided with that shock command start to immediately take Lone Wolf. So found that Celas early on versus, you did the more traditional loot path into Barren Falls or Imperial Camp into Barren Falls. So, I mean, immediately there was a lot of divergence, although I think at the end of the day, most of the checks both of you had done was pretty similar. But it was a lot of fun to watch you two be in completely different directions early on.
Yeah, speaking of Golden Shocker, one of the things he's drilled into me is if you get some commands that are really good early on, make sure you check them, especially rages and dances. And we had Retainer Rage, which is like, oh, I have 2 shocks now. So I thought about instantly just starting to do a grind, but I was like, no, you know what? Let me get some gear. Let me see if I can get some earrings, because that'll really set me off. And that paid off. The double shock was fun to just run through things early on, especially when I went up Mount Colts, which I don't normally do. That's like one of the few times I've ever run up Mount Colts, so that's why I kept running and bonking into walls. So forgive me for that. I was just really happy not to see something too terrible at the end and be able to like get through it. So, but yeah, I love that this game itself has so many different routes you can take from the very get-go. That's one of the reasons when I started playing it, I started loving it so much. Don't get me wrong, Free Enterprise, Profound Distortion, those are going to be my top 2. But Worlds Collide is something I can just play whenever I feel like running fast, but also just kind of being silly.
I just want to take a little bit of a note here. So we have that first attack coming out of after Goner phase, which puts Kefka back into counter, but we did enough damage on Sorb's side to not even have to worry about Ultimas coming out, and we do get that crack boom on his side with a time of 1:25.26. GG's to Sorbs. We'll see if Sorbs is also willing to come in for an interview.
Yeah, GG Sorbs. It's the damage, the power we had wasn't fantastic, and it was a little scary, but I'm glad you got through that. That was a little bit rough at the end, but fantastic job.
Yeah, it looks like Sorbs has said no interview from him today.
Is always perfectly fine. Yeah, it was I would say Sorbus ran that well. Really just the unfortunate Magi Master at Floating Continent 3, which everyone dreads that in the Doom Gaze. Thankfully for Sorbs taking that midway save point, but either way, it never feels... I've said some words that I cannot repeat on Restream. Maybe I can on this one, but I won't when similar things have happened. But recovered very well from that, actually. Re-equipping around for that Magi Master and handling that beautifully on the second attempt.
Good stuff. I can't wait to watch it back, because Magi Master there has gotten me so many times. Like sometimes I just say no, I'm out. So I'm very glad I skipped it this time and didn't have to run into him. But I want to see how Sorbs handle it, because that's a rough spot, and no matter how many seeds I run, it's always good to learn how people handle those situations, so I can throw it in my repertoire. As Scar said earlier, stealing ideas.
I will say the big thing there, and I'll point this out because I saw that you had sold the relic. The big thing is the Rage Ring. It is incredible for Magi Master, given that it gives you immunity to lightning and absorbing of fire. So that one relic does cover quite a bit of Magimaster when you really don't have that much defense, which honestly the seed was pretty lacking other than the snow muffler that you got from collapsing house.
Yeah, and there was really nothing else in the collapsing house either, so that's why it fell down, and I'm sticking with that story. But yeah, the rage ring, I think I sold it because I wanted the earrings. At that point, I figured incorrectly that I would get some better defensive options later that would help me with fire and lightning, but you know, you take those risks. I'm very lucky it worked out the way it did, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was a well run race by you and both of our racers, so fantastic to watch. Love to see some worlds collide, especially on this channel. Scar opened up saying that this is probably of the three games was probably the least played of the three. There was no bidding free enterprise in terms of the amount played, for rather obvious reasons, I would say, given the server and the people in the server. But it's fantastic to see, and I can't wait to see what 3 games and flag sets will be chosen for the next go around. Any are there any games that you want to put forward that weren't the 3 games put here? That really fit the theme of the server.
So one that I haven't really dabbled in too much is the Final Fantasy randomizer, the OG, if you will. Um, I would I've been watching a lot of randomizer races over the past few days just to you know decompress from a few things. But FFR is such there's so many different tricks that are like little that you wouldn't even think of that would exist in a game. Reset tech, uh, setting up grinds with oh, let me knock everyone down. Oh, I've only got 3 characters instead of all 4. Just so many different things you can do on that, and I want to try it out, but I'm also afraid. So if anybody's in charge of that, put that in there so I can fight my fears. That's just all I'm gonna say on that.
It'll
You
be
absolutely.
it'll be included in the vote for sure. The committee does have a plan to make sure that a certain number of regardless of what else gets submitted, a certain few games will always kind of be on the vote, which is probably going to be at least the core of the NES, SNES, Final Fantasy randomizers.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Um, I also like one little thing, and this might be just wishful thinking because watching it looks super fun. Uh, I know the FFR community does it a lot each year. Um, Archipelago races might be kind of fun. You know, having a little teammate going on a different game, have an adventure together in a different world.
Oh yeah, that's something we've looked at before, but that would be definitely for a different event.
Understood. But yeah, that's my thought process. Try something new, see how I do.
That's what we're aiming for. So I'm glad to hear it. But I
Cool.
think with that, we move on to some final thoughts. Fire, any final thoughts?
Like I said, it was fantastic to watch this race. Uh, you know, definitely influential for the next round, given that it is uh, a race to be a part of the winner's circle for this tournament. So fantastic to see you up here, Noob. And I'm looking forward to the couple matches that we have going on this week as well. Scar, if you wanted to talk a little bit about that on the way out, just to give a little heads up of what may be coming on the restream side. And I mean, this is a lot of fun. A lot of fun to commentate Worlds Collide. A lot of fun to do it with you, Scar, and Dubward, of course, coming to the operating room, pressing those buttons when called for. Fantastic time, and Sil, of course, for restreaming as well.
Yeah, up and coming, we've got tomorrow is going to be the Gambler versus Y2 Sky. This is what we might refer to as a Kachi Kochi match, where both runners are 2 wins and 2 losses entering it. They're going to be playing Dude Where's My Golbez. And I know for sure on Sunday I'm going to be restreaming Fiery Blizzard versus Power Bonking, which will be in Mystic Quest. So we'll get all 3 randomizers on the channel this week. And there are going to be a couple matches Friday and Saturday. I'm Not sure the status of their restream, as I personally will not be available to restream them, unfortunately.
I will endeavor to try to be available to restream yours and A Meyer's match as we want to see the winners win their matches live if possible.
All right. You've heard it here first, folks. In the meantime, we're going to head over to Jets of Time, which is another randomizer the committee has been eyeing to put to the Flagset vote. They're running a tournament of their own. They're calling it the Jurassic Rhythm. It's round one. The Schwants, a big name over in FF6, versus Nathan with two N's. Give them some love. Give them some support. Maybe learn their randomizer. Have a good night, y'all.